I made that term up. I just made that term up.
My
Idiot. I just made up the term counter-thriftity, and you told me you understand the concept. Who controlled the House and the Senate during COVID?
Who controlled the House and the Senate?
During COVID, yeah.
Technically, Trump. He didn't veto any.
Trump did. So Trump was the one that was writing these bills. That's your argument?
Did he veto any?
He didn't, but that's not to say the fact that that's an absurd. So I just want to be clear. So your argument right now would be that Joe Biden currently controls the House. Why? You said that he controlled, that the president, unless he vetoed a bill, if he signs a bill, he controls the House. That's what you said.
You give me a chance to answer the question or no?
We'll give you like 15 seconds to give a brief answer, sure.
Oh.
Well, I'm not going to give you, after you ramble on for 5 minutes, I'm not going to give you another 5 minutes to ramble on. Your argument, correct me if I'm wrong, is Trump controlled the House because he didn't veto a bill.
Oh, he actually asked for more money. So the answer would be that when the bills came across, he didn't veto them, did he?
He did not. That does not mean he controlled Congress. Did the Democrats want more spending?
Trump wanted more spending.
Did the Democrats want more spending?
I remember Trump asking for more spending.
Did the Democrats want more spending? So you're saying you don't know?
I don't know the answer to
They
that.
did.
No.
In fact, they negotiated with Republicans who whittled them down, and it was a compromise bill, which you're right was a disaster. Now, the irony is there's a lot of areas of agreement here that I actually think that the mass inflation partly became from the lockdowns and partly became from the fact that we were spending money hand over fist. The problem is the Democrats wanted to do that even worse. Also, you are ignoring the part that the lockdowns also contributed to this. So you talk about people who are at home. That is completely true. That is completely true. What you're trying to simplify is because so much of stuff is imported from China that caused this supply chain crunch at that level, which caused then we sent people money. But the truth is that there are other levels that come with that chain. It's not just as simple as everything at the base level is imported from China and all work then contributes from there. There are stages of things that are manufactured in the United States that other businesses in the United States need that manufactured stuff that was occurred in the United States. So locking down there actually caused problems and supply chain issues as well that would make things more tight, which would cause the prices of products to be higher as well because there were less things going in that nature. In addition, we can see that things like locking down caused all sorts of other financial problems with people that made it necessary in the people's eyes, including Trump and the Democrats and the Republicans, to send them things like stimulus checks and to inject more money because they had to survive in a time where they were unable to get an income because they were considered non-essential. And so, for example, you had other things like this would occur. Even the essential businesses that were allowed to occur because kids weren't allowed to go to school. Many families then had to provide for childcare because their kids were locked down, unable to go to school. Their work situation is such that on a normal time, they go to work and their kids go to school. Now you have to have some sort of babysitter or you can't go to work. So you're in the shipping business. Where I lived, there were a lot of mobile home factories that ship out these oversized loads, right? Many of them had to close down even if they weren't forced to because so many parents that worked there were unable to come to work because schools were locked down or other places were locked down where their school children would go. So you're having a gross oversimplification and you're talking at a rapid pace, which is totally fine because I talk at a rapid pace as well. But you're trying to use your sort of job and something that you know about specifically with your job to make it seem like this is this all-encompassing, this is what it all was because of this backup at the port because China had to lock down because of COVID and Trump had some sort of tariffs. That explains it all. And that's gross oversimplification and it's also stupid and ignores many things. The truth of the matter is that the idea in general of lockdowns and the massive money printing is largely what's responsible for inflation. There is absolutely criticism to be given to Trump and to Republicans, but the Democrats wanted to do it worse and continue to do it worse when they controlled the presidency, the House, and the Senate when Biden took over.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so let me continue on with what I was saying because you cut me off in the middle, then you fill in the void of the stuff that you cut me off at. So when I try to explain stuff, you cut me off. So it's not simplifying. I'm making sure that you understand what's going on. So
I don't because you're just real quick. No one understands what you're saying because you're just talking really rapid in a way that's not explaining anything.
I'm actually explaining it. Like,
you're not.
There's no.
You want me to ask the audience? Does anyone understand? Do you think I could bring one person on from my audience that could repeat the gist of what you're trying to say?
I don't know.
Could one in your audience? I'm sure you've said this same spiel many times before. Could one person in your audience do it?
Yes.
Okay, bring them on.
You want me to bring somebody on to explain it?
Someone that feels that you have sufficiently explained the things you're talking about. Because I feel like what you're doing is going through a pre-speech.
How do you want me to bring them on? How do you want me to bring them on?
Here, tell them to join my channel. Then come on.
I'm trying. My problem is I wasn't even done with the lockdowns. Do you realize that there is a goods and services volume in logistics?
Yes, I do. Do you understand? Do you understand the counter? Did you understand the counter thriftity when it comes to actually people that are printing this money at the Fed? You understand the concept of counter thriftity, correct?
No, when I'm asking if you understand.
No, but I'm asking you in a counter. I'm admitting I don't. But clearly you understand the most basic concept of counter thriftity. Yes or no? I'm just asking you. I understand you have this area of expertise, but what I'm saying is, do you understand the basic concept when it comes to Fed printing of counter thriftity?
Why don't you answer my question
I
first?
said no. I answered your question. Now I'm saying, but what you're overlooking is the obvious concept of counter thrifty at the Fed. Do you understand anything about it?
Rob, here's what I'm not going to do.
Why can't you answer the question?
Because you won't allow me to say any of my points. And the minute I start to talk over the top. So what I'm trying
you could absolutely explain your points. I'm just asking you a simple question. You asked me a yes, no. I answered quickly and then asked you a yes, no.
Yes.
You do understand.
I literally just tried to explain to you something, and then you talked for 5 minutes, and then when you stopped talking, I tried to talk again, and you cut me off.
A simple yes, no. You said yes. You understand the concept of counter thriftity. I'm just trying to get a baseline. I made that term up. I just made that term up. You fucking idiot. I just made up the term counter thriftity, and you told me you understand the concept.
Rob, I just said yes because I didn't give a shit.
So you're not engaged in a good faith conversation.
Yes, because at some point you got to let me talk, Rob. You going to let me talk?
I will let you talk. I just want everyone to know he understands the concepts of counter thrifty, which is a made up term. Go ahead. Go with your expertise here.
You said no, yes, no, didn't care. Because you go on for 5 minutes and you don't let me finish. So there are a goods and service based in volume, right? One of the reasons that we shut down is because we were moving from a goods purchasing volume to a service volume, correct?
I don't know.
Okay, service volume is food. Goods is purchasing. So for Christmas, you buy a lot of goods. Okay. That's what we do in December and January and February. Come February, March, and April, we start to roll into a service-based industry. Service industry is produce, food, things like that. So one of the problems we were going to have if we opened up schools, restaurants, bars, and things like that, we could have been shut down because we didn't have enough capacity, meaning trucks, to be able to not stop for food shortages. Hang on, I got a drink.
Counter thrifted, he got you thirsty there.
Yeah, I just said yes because you wouldn't shut the fuck up.
You said yes because you're full of shit and you're bad faith. Keep going, though.
No, I'm not bad faith, but you won't let me finish, Rob. At what point do you let me finish?
I'm saying you just pause and take a drink. Keep going, man. I know you want to go on a 30-minute thing that says, I know all about, you see the goods, there were food and the tariffs and the ports, and I do. Do you know what this term means? Do you know? Oh, you don't know what that means. Well, then, yes, you want to talk like that for 30 minutes. I'm giving you large chunks to go ahead with your spiel. We get it. Keep going. All right, man. Hey, let me just say, thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed it. I know it got a little testy there, but I don't think it was personal, and I'm fine with it.
I think we fell into a groove there, to be honest. That it's something that I don't mind doing with you. You know what I'm saying? I think we fell into first debate for for me going back and forth. I argue a lot, but I think we fell into a groove, and I don't hold anything against you at all. Like
it was fun.
And yeah, it was a good time.
Do you think you schooled me?
Yeah, I think I schooled you in some aspects. 100%.
I disagree, but that's okay. One of the things about debates, it's always subjective. Like, here's the thing: obviously sometimes if you lose, but you're you, so you're going to like the arguments you're making. Why? Because you're you, right? So like that's
correct. And like I said, was I 100? I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I got no problem. So was I 100% confident in debating? No. Am I an arrogant a jerk sometimes? Yes. But
it didn't bother me. I didn't find the arrogance to be that off-putting or anything like that. I will say, you should admit you fucked up royally with that thriftity thing.
Well, at that point, I just said, yeah, I didn't care. Like, it was like, it's like, what? At that point, I was like, you're not even letting me finish the damn sentence. So I just, yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, I'll tell you what was going on if you want. Oftentimes what happens is, you have to understand, I'm just some redneck, right? I'm a decent debater. I debated in college, but I'm basically just a run-of-the-mill redneck. Oftentimes what will happen is I'll debate people that are experts in a field. So I'll debate a professor of economics, or I'll debate a foreign policy expert that works at a think tank. And what they'll do is they use a bunch of terminology and stuff that the average person won't know. And they'll say, oh, do you know that? You know that? Or I'll debate a lawyer. Oh, you know that? You know that? And you're like, well, no. And what perceptually, whether you're trying to do this or not, what's happening with the audience is it makes a power imbalance where it's like, well, one side knows the terminology, so they just seem more intelligent than the other.
My power balance had to be there because you were a better debater. Because you see what I mean? So I knew that's where I went with that. That's why I went with that.
But I'm just explaining why I did this thriftity thing, right? Because you kept saying, do you know this? And I'm trying to talk through, like, I'm trying to understand what you're talking about. And you keep throwing these terms out. And so I said, no, I don't. And I kept being honest with you, like, I don't understand that. And then I wanted to try something. What if I threw out a term and pretended I was an expert? Would you say you knew it? And you said yes. And to me, the point that I'm trying to illustrate there is a lot of this terminology stuff is a red herring. And when I claim to be some sort of expert and know some term you don't, instead of being honest like I am, you're like, yeah, I know that. And I think that hurts you perceptually because
that was sarcasm for me because it's like I'm trying to finish a sentence here.